Yes, people, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all South India student. How are you? Hope so you are good. I'm also good. So guys, today we are going to revise one interesting concept. That concept name is a residential status of the company. Now, in case of the company, sir, how to determine the residential status? So guys, there are two type of the company. One is the Indian company. Indian company is always resident. Indian company means example is your Tata, Reliance, that BB Virtual, all companies are Indian company. Indian company means company incorporated in India. That is called Indian company. So Indian company is always resident. But in case of the other company, or I can say that foreign company, sir, foreign company will be treated as resident or non-resident in India. Guys, that will be depends on the POEM. POEM is place of effective management and control. Now, what is the meaning of the POEM? POEM is place from where that crucial decision of business are made. That place is known as the POEM. So in case of the foreign company, if the POEM is located in India, then that company will be treated as resident in India. Otherwise, that company will be treated as non-resident in India. I can take an example. Suppose there is one foreign company name is the Singapore Airlines. So suppose there is one foreign company name is the Singapore Airlines. Now this Singapore Airlines, this company is incorporated in the Singapore. So can I call it as a foreign company? Answer is yes. Now Singapore Airlines will be treated as resident in India if that POEM of that company is located in India. But suppose POEM is located outside India, then obviously Singapore Airlines will be treated as non-resident in India. And when any person is a non-resident in India, then only Indian income is taxable. But suppose if any person became the resident in India, then whole world income is going to be taxable in India. Now, sir, how to check the residential status? Means how to check that POEM of that foreign company is located in India or not. Now for the next 10 minutes, whatever I am going to discuss now, that is applicable only in case of the foreign company. So remember, because Indian company is always resident. But in case of foreign company, that foreign company will be treated as resident in India only if the POEM is located in India. But sir, how to determine that POEM is located in India or outside India? So for that purpose, our CBDT has issued the circular number 6 and circular number 8 2017. And CBDT has given one guidelines to determine the POEM. But guys, this POEM guidelines is applicable only if the turnover of that company in the current year is more than 50 crore. Now, your question will be like that, okay, sir, suppose if turnover is not more than 50 crore, then that foreign company will be treated as non-resident directly. If turnover of that foreign company is only up to 50 crore, then that company will be treated as non-resident. But suppose if turnover is more than 50 crore, then you have to check this POEM guidelines. Now, how to determine the POEM? Guys, here first point says that, okay, suppose for any company, if ABI test is fulfilled. Now, what is the ABI and all? Don't worry about that. I am going to explain you. Now, just focus here. Lawmaker says that okay, two conditions are satisfied. This is the one condition and this is the two condition. If these two conditions are satisfied, then that company POEM will be treated as outside India and that company will be treated as non-resident in India. Try to understand that. Here, this POEM guideline says that okay, in case of the foreign company, if two conditions are satisfied, then that company POEM will not be in India. Means I can say that POEM will be outside India and that company will be treated as non-resident in India. Now question is, sir, which two condition? First condition is majority board meeting of that company held outside India. So in case of any company, if majority board meeting held outside India, it means this second condition is satisfied. Now what do you mean by the majority board meeting? I can take an example. Suppose Singapore Airlines is one company and that company held total 5 board of director meeting in the year. So total meeting was 5. Suppose out of 5, 2 meeting they held in the Singapore, 2 meeting they held in the India, and suppose 1 meeting they held in the USA. So can I say that here total meetings are the 5 meetings and out of that 3 meetings hold outside India? Because the Singapore and USA is outside India, so 3 meeting held outside India, it means majority board meeting held outside India. So this second condition is satisfied. Now the second condition is satisfied, along with that first condition should also be satisfied. Now what is the first condition? Here first condition says that okay, that company active business should be outside India, means ABI test should be fulfilled. Now question is that, sir, what is the ABI test? ABI test means active business outside India test. Now what is the ABI test? ABI test will be fulfilled if 4 conditions are satisfied. First condition says that okay, that company passive income should not be more than 50% of total income. It means the passive income of that company should be within the limit of 50% of total income. For an example, that company's total income is 100 crore, then passive income should be 50 crore or less. So that is the first condition of the ABOI test. So ABOI test will be fulfilled if the four conditions are satisfied. First condition says that passive income should be up to 50% of total income, means passive income should be within the 50% of total income. That is the first condition. Second condition says that less than 50% of total asset of that company is situated in India. Third condition says that less than 50% of total number of employees are situated in India or are resident in India. And last condition, whatever the Indian employee, payroll expenditure of those employees should be less than 50% of the total payroll expenditure of the company. Guys, if all these four conditions are satisfied, then I can say that ABOI test is fulfilled. ABOI means active business outside India. So here guys, active business outside India test will be fulfilled if four conditions are satisfied. First is passive income should not be more than 50% of total income. Second is less than 50% of total assets should be situated in India. Less than 50% of number of employees are situated in India or resident in India. And whatever the Indian employee, for them, whatever the total payroll expenditure of that company, out of that less than 50% payroll expenditure should be for the Indian employee. So if all the four cumulative conditions are satisfied, then we can say that ABOI test is fulfilled. And along with that, if majority board meeting held outside India, then that company POEM will be treated as outside India and that company will be treated as non-resident. But sir, here you are saying that passive income is within the limit of 50% of total income. But what do you mean by the passive income? Guys, passive income means, in simple word, I can say that other than business income. So other than business income, it means a passive income. So always remember, passive income means either there is a rental income from house property, rental income, or if there is a capital gain, or in other sources, royalty, dividend and interest income. This income are known as the passive income. So passive income means either royalty income or dividend income or capital gain income or interest income or rental income. That is known as your passive income. So if your passive income is within the 50% limit of total income, then this first tranche of this ABOI test is fulfilled. Now try to understand, here I am saying that this interest income is a passive income, but always remember, in case of the banking company and public financial institution, this interest income will be treated as an active income. So in case of the banking company and PFI, this interest income will be treated as active income. Otherwise, interest income will be treated as passive income. One more point. Lawmaker says that suppose if you purchase the goods and sell the goods, both means purchase and sell both goods from and to its associate enterprise, then whatever income from that transaction, that is treated as passive income. So in simple word guys, suppose if you purchase the goods from your associate enterprise and also sell the goods to your associate enterprise, then that income will be known as your passive income. This income is known as your passive income. But always remember, suppose you purchase from the outsider and you selling to the associate enterprise, that is your active income. Suppose you purchase from associate enterprise and selling to the outsider, that is also treated as your active income. So your passive income is if you are purchasing from your associate enterprise and selling to your associate enterprise, then that income will be treated as your passive income, but other income will be treated as active income. So remember, here first tranche of this particular point was passive income is within 50% of total income. What do you mean by passive income? So passive income means two types of the income. One is the, always remember, royalty, dividend, capital gain, interest and rental income is your passive income. And second is if you purchase and sell goods from your associate enterprise, means purchase also from associate enterprise and selling also to associate enterprise, then that income will be treated as your passive income. Now question is that, sir, you are talking about the income, so we have to consider the income as per which law? So obviously that company is based in the Singapore, so we will take the income as per the Singaporean tax law. But suppose as per the Singaporean tax law, there is not required to calculate any income and all in the Singapore, then guys we will take the income as per the books of accounts. One more point. Here the second tranche of this particular point says that less than 50% of total asset are situated in India. Sir, how we will calculate the asset value? So guys, in case of the depreciable asset of that company, just take the average of the opening and closing WDV of that asset. But in case of the other asset means like land and all, because for land is not a depreciable asset. So in case of the other asset, just take the value as per books of accounts. Now guys, Next point, because this point says that your less than 50% employees should be situated in India or are resident in India. So how we will check the number of employee? So here lawmaker says that for number of employee, just take the average number of employee at the beginning and at the end of the year. So for an example, in one company at the starting of the year there was a 1000 employee. At the end of the year there are 900 employees. So can I say that 950 is the average? Now these are the total employee. Now check how many employee are located in India. So suppose in India at the starting of the year there was 300 employee. At the end of the year there is a 400 employee. So can I say that here there is a 350 is the average? So here this was the 950 was average and here 350 is average. So can I say that less than 50% employee are located in India? Answer is yes. But always remember, whenever you check the employee now, if any employee is not directly employed by the company, but suppose that employee is work on the contract basis, you know that in the various company there are various employees, they worked on the contract basis, they are not on the company payroll, but they are performing the task similar to the performed by the employee, then guys this employee will also be covered or considered while calculating the number of employee. So always remember, if any employee recruited by the company on the contractual basis, then also that employee will be covered if that employee is performing the similar task of the performed by the employee of the company. Now next part is related to the payroll. Guys, what do you mean by the payroll expenditure? Because in your total payroll expenditure, whatever payroll expenditure is spent for Indian employee, that should be less than 50%. So here payroll expenditure means take the salary, wages, bonus, all other employee compensation, including related pension, social cost borne by the employer. So in simple word, whatever your employee cost now, that will be treated as payroll expenditure. Now guys, what I have mentioned here, if these two conditions are satisfied, then we will say that poem is located outside India, and guys that company will be treated as non-resident. Now which was two condition? One is the ABOI test is fulfilled and majority board meeting held outside India. But guys there is a one exception. That exception point says that suppose if any company ABOI test is also fulfilled as well as the majority board of director meeting is also held outside India, but guys suppose that board of director don't have any power to conclude the decision, means board of director is not having the decision making power, but that company decision are made by any person located in India or any holding company in India, then guys poem will be located in India. So what this guideline says that suppose if ABOI test is also fulfilled and majority board meeting also held outside India, then also poem will be treated in India if board of director is not exercising their power, but ultimately power is exercised by any holding company in India or any other person resident in India, then poem shall be treated as in India. You got my point or not? Yes. Now one more point. Guys, here I am saying that the board of director is not exercising the power, and suppose power is exercised by the holding company or any other person resident in India, then poem shall be treated as in India. But guys, you know that many times it's happened that like suppose there is a one group, example is a Adani or there is a Reliance. Guys, Adani is having holding company in India, but they also have the company in Singapore, they also have the company in Dubai, they also have the company in various part of the world. Now, you know that in the multinational group, what happened? That every subsidiary company is following the same function, which is followed by the group. Means suppose group follow the same function, that payroll like function, accounting function, HR function, IT infrastructure function, network platform function, supply chain function, routine banking operation procedure, etc., etc. That is followed by every subsidiary company. So suppose like one subsidiary company is located in Singapore and that company is following this function of the holding company or that group company, then question is that sir, is we will say that that board of director is not having any power to take the decision and all? Answer is no. They are saying that suppose that group company is following just this type of function, then don't worry about that. It will not be treated that that company is not exercising the power or board of director is not exercising the power and all. But guys, suppose if you are doing this type of practice only to avoid the tax in India, then GAR can be triggered here, and if GAR is triggered then guys they can treat that company as resident in India. You got my point or not? Yes. Okay, one more point guys. Here sir, we will take the data of the current year, because here for the ABOI test there are four conditions. First is a passive income should be up to within 50% limit of total income, less than 50% asset located in India, less than 50% number of employers situated in India, or payroll expenditure of Indian employees should be less than 50% of total payroll expenditure. So here question is that, sir, this data we will use only for the current year data, or we will take the average of the 3 years? Right answer is, guys, here this point says that you have to take the average of the 3 years data. 3 years data means, for an example, in the current year, suppose current year total income is 100 crore. Now, suppose in current year passive income is 30 crore. So this is within the limit. Now you have to consider the last year also. Suppose last year total income was 200 crore. In that passive income was 45 crore. Now last to last year, suppose there was 150 crore. And after that, here passive income was suppose 40 crore. So here, guys, just you have to add up the all 3 years passive income and divide by 3. So average data you have to consider. So guys, they are saying that for the poem determination, you have to consider the 3 years average data, means current year data and last 2 previous year data. But guys, suppose that company is not following the financial year, then suppose in India, you know that we follow the financial year from the April to March. But guys, suppose for an example that company is following the previous year, that financial year is a Jan to December, then what will happen? Then which 3 year we will consider? So here lawmaker says that suppose that company became the resident in previous year 23-24, then guys we have to consider the 3 accounting year. And which 3 accounting year? 1 accounting year is completing in this financial year. So guys, can I say that in this particular year, your 2023 accounting year is completing? And just take the last 2 years, that is 2022 and 2021. So average data of this 3 years shall be considered for the determination of the poem. Now one more point, guys, in case of the other companies, because if ABI test is fulfilled and majority board meeting held outside India, then that company will be treated as non-resident in India. But suppose, guys, for that company ABI test is not fulfilled, then what will happen? Is ABI test is not fulfilled, then directly we will say that that company will be resident in India? No, guys, nothing like that. Here this guideline says that suppose for other company, if ABI test is not fulfilled, then there is a 2-stage process, and on the basis of 2-stage process you will determine the poem. First stage is you have to identify or ascertaining the person who actually make the key management or commercial decision of the company. Means first determine that who is the actual person who is making the decision, and second is you have to check that from the place where decisions are in fact being made, from which place that person is making the decision. Means on the basis of this 2-stage process you will determine that poem is located in India or poem is located outside India. And always remember, place from where decision is being made, that is more important than the decision is being implemented. For an example, there is a one person located in India and that person is making the decision, that decision are implemented in Singapore, irrelevant. Now from where this decision are being made, that is more important as compared to the place where decision are being implemented. You got my point or not? Yes. Now guys, there are certain situation, certain example, or you can say that certain situation are given, and on the basis of this poem will be determined. For an example, for any company, suppose board of director is exercising the power and board of director is making the key decision, then can I say that place where decisions are taken by the board, that place will be treated as the poem. Suppose this power is delegated to the senior management, like board to the senior management, means MD or CEO is making the decision, then you have to check that from where that person is making this decision. Third is, suppose this power is given to the board by the board to the executive committee, then you have to check that where that executive committee is based, that place will be treated as the poem. Now suppose in case of the circular resolution or round robin voting, in that type of system is there, through the circular resolution and round robin voting they are making the decision, then you have to check that where highest manager is located, means location of the person who has authority to take the decision, means ultimate decision is taken by which person, that place will be treated as the poem. Now guys, always remember, there are certain decisions which are taken by the shareholder only. There are certain decisions which are taken by the shareholder, like amalgamation, demerger, that type of decision is always taken by the shareholder. So is that shareholder decision place will be relevant for the poem? Answer is no. Guys, location where such decisions are taken by the shareholder not relevant for the determination of the poem. Now guys, suppose senior person located in the principal place of the business, then such principal place of business will be treated as the poem. Now in case of the decentralized company means there are various offices of that company is located. Suppose there is a one company incorporated in the Singapore, but they are having the office in Singapore, India, Dubai, Pakistan, everywhere they are having the offices, and from everywhere that company is managed. Now question is that where it poem will be located. So guys, here we have to check that where senior manager are primarily based. Where senior manager are primarily based means CEO, MD, CFO, where they are primarily based. As well as you have to check that return to travel to the other location. Return to travel to the other location means, suppose for an example there is a meeting in USA. So after USA meeting, where they are coming back, where they are returning. You know that always if we go somewhere, then always we come to our home. So they will return to their home. So where they are returning, that place will be treated as the poem. Next part. Suppose senior management may operate from the different location and participate in the various meeting via telephone or video conferencing. In that particular case, guys, you have to check that where highest level of management is located. Highest level of management means where MD is located, where financial director is located, that place will be treated as the poem. And here I have clearly mentioned that poem guidelines is applicable only if the turnover of that company is more than 50 crore in a financial year. If it is less than or up to 50 crore, then there is no need to check the poem and that company will be treated as non-resident. Now guys, there is one more concept related to poem only, that is the transition mechanism of the foreign company. Now what is the transition mechanism? I can explain you. Guys, for an example, there is a one company name is a Singapore Airlines. So Singapore Airlines is one company. I can call it FCO, that is foreign company. This company is located in Singapore, means registered in Singapore. Now what happened? In the current year, suppose, and this is the first year, in the previous year 23-24, in previous year 23-24, suppose that company became the resident in India due to the poem. This company became resident in India due to the poem, and whenever any company became resident in India, so can I say that now whole world income is going to be taxable in India? Because if any person is a resident in India, then whole world income is going to be taxable in India. So now this Singapore Airlines is one foreign company that earlier that company was non-resident, but now in the current year that company became the poem resident in India. So now question is that, sir, in India, now whole world income will be taxable in India. Sir, what will be the opening WDV of block? Because earlier that company was not a resident in India. Earlier this company was non-resident. So they not used to pay the tax in India. They never calculate their block value and all. So we don't know that, sir, what is the opening WDV. So here question is that, sir, what will be the opening WDV of block in India for calculating the depreciation? Now second question is, sir, suppose that company incurred some losses in 2016-17 in the Singapore. Is, sir, that business loss, suppose there was a PGBP loss they incurred in the Singapore in 16-17. Now that company is became the poem resident in India. So question is that PGBP losses of 16-17 are allowed to be set up and carry forward in the current year or not? So guys, there are various doubts now. So to resolve this doubt, they have issued, our government has issued one notification, and that notification number is 29/2018, and that notification is applicable from 1st April 2017, and this notification is applicable when any foreign company, earlier that foreign company was non-resident, and in the current year that company became the first time resident in India. Now guys, this notification says that, try to understand. Suppose this notification we will understand by help of one example. That example is, suppose there is a one company name is FCO. In our example, there was a Singapore Airlines, that is a foreign company. And this company first time becoming the poem resident in India in the financial year 23-24. So first time if that company became the poem resident in India, question is that, sir, what will be the opening WDV? So for the opening WDV, you have to check that, is that foreign company is assessed to tax in Singapore? Is that Singapore Airlines is assessed to tax in Singapore? Answer is yes, they are assessed to tax in Singapore. So if they assessed to tax in Singapore, now you have to check that is depreciation is allowed as per the Singapore tax law or not. Answer is yes. Is if as per the Singapore tax law depreciation is allowed, then guys whatever the opening WDV as on 1st April 2023 as per the Singapore tax law, that WDV will be treated as the opening WDV in India. Means WDV as per the Singapore tax law, that will be treated as the opening WDV in India, and on that WDV that company will claim the depreciation under section 32 of the Income Tax Act 1961. But suppose depreciation is not considered in Singapore tax law, then guys you have to take the WDV as on 1st April 2023, assuming that depreciation is actually allowed, and you have to reduce the depreciation, and remaining WDV will be treated as WDV as on 1/4/2023 for the tax purpose in India. Now suppose that foreign company is not a tax assessee of Singapore, then just take the WDV as on 1st April 2023 as per the books of account as per the Singaporean law. So as per Singaporean law means, like in Singapore, suppose for an example, there is a Singaporean companies law. So as per the companies law, whatever the WDV as per the books of account, you have to consider in India. Now next part is, sir, suppose that company is having the brought forward business losses or unabsorbed depreciation. So is that will be allowed to be set up or carry forward in India or not? Answer is yes. Answer is yes. Suppose if there is any loss or depreciation of that company as on 1/4/2023, and that company is a tax assessee in Singapore, then whatever the loss and unabsorbed depreciation as per the tax record, that will be considered in India. But suppose that company is not a tax assessee of Singapore, then whatever the loss and depreciation as per the books of accounts shall be considered in India. You got my point or not? Yes. Now guys, one more point. There is one interesting case. Point number 1 says that losses shall be allowed to be carried forward under Income Tax Act only for the remaining period. Means for an example, that loss was incurred 4 years ago. So business losses can be carried forward for the 8 years. So remaining 4 years can be carried forward and set up in India. And one more point says that losses and unabsorbed depreciation of foreign companies shall be allowed to be set up only against the income which has become taxable in India due to its becoming resident due to the poem. Now what is the meaning of this point, guys? You know that earlier that company was non-resident. So earlier that company was non-resident means only Indian income is going to be taxable. But now that company is a resident means whole world income is taxable. Guys, that unabsorbed depreciation and brought forward losses of the earlier year, that can be set up only against the income which became the taxable now on the basis of the residential status of that company. Means in simple word, I can say that losses and unabsorbed depreciation can be set up only against the foreign income. Because guys, Indian income is going to be taxable in India, whether that company is a resident or non-resident. Only that foreign income became taxable in India due to the poem residency. So only income which was earlier not taxable, and due to the poem resident that income is taxable in India, only against that income they can set up and carry forward that losses. You got my point or not? Yes. Now guys, there is one interesting point. Try to understand. I am going to explain you here. Just focus here on your board. For an example, there is one company, that company name is a FCO. Now guys, that company has incurred some business losses, suppose PGBP losses in previous year. For an example, they are also follow the financial year only. So in the financial year 17-18, suppose they have incurred the 50 crore rupees losses. So there was a PGBP losses of 50 crore. Now this company became the poem resident in current year. Poem resident in current year, and our current year is a previous year 23-24. So can I say that this losses belongs to the 17-18? So just skip the 17-18. It will be carried forward for the 8 years. So can I count from the financial year 18-19? So 18-19, 19, 20, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 and 25, 26. So can I say that losses can be carried forward and set up till 25, 26? Because losses incurred in the 17-18. So just skip the 17-18. After that 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 and 25, 26. So till 25, 26 that losses can be set up and carry forward. You understood my point or not? Yes. Now one more point here. All people try to understand. Sir, this company became the resident in India in the 23-24. So can I say that only for this 3 year this losses can be set up and carry forward in India for the remaining period? Yes, you understood this point. Now guys, try to understand. There is one very interesting case. कि suppose that company follow the calendar year, then what will happen? Suppose that company follow the calendar year and in 2000 and suppose 17 they incur the losses. So 2017 they incur the losses, then sir how we will calculate the 8 year? So can I say that 2017 that losses are incurred, so just skip the 2017. After that 2018 is the first year, 2019 is the second year, 2020 is the third year, 2021 is a fourth year, 2022 is a fifth year, sixth year is 2023. Oh guys, but here try to understand, they follow the calendar year and now we follow the financial year. We follow the financial year, or you can say that previous year. So in the previous year 23-24 that company became the resident. So sir, how 23 we cannot take as a calendar year na? So what our lawmaker says that suppose if that company follow year which is not a financial year, means which is not a previous year, then what you have to do? You have to prepare the account of that company from the date on which that financial year, or you can say that the accounting year of that company is started till 31st March 2023. Means what you have to do? You have to prepare the account of that company from the first day of their accounting year till the 31st March 2023, because in 23-24 that company became the resident na. So before 23-24 the date is the 31st March 2023. So their accounting year start until 31st March 2023 they have to prepare their profit and loss account and balance sheet. So guys, in this particular case what will happen? That company will prepare their accounts from 1st January 2023 till 31st March 2023. Means they have to prepare their books of accounts for this 3 month also. And guys, now subsequently every year they have to prepare their profit and loss account and balance sheet for the financial year, means previous year 23-24. So now every year they have to prepare their accounts for the previous year 23-24, 24-25, means this 12 month they have to prepare their account. But guys, for this 3 month also they have to prepare their accounts. Now one more point. Guys, suppose that losses was incurred in the 2017, so it can be carry forward from 2018. So 2018 was first year, 2019 was second year, 2020 was third year, 2021 fourth year, 2022 fifth year, 2023 is a sixth year. But guys, in 2023, can I say that here there is a 3 month only? So lawmaker says that suppose in this particular period, if this period is a less than 6 months, then you have to merge this period with the last accounting year. So can I say that here this 2023, here I will merge with the 2022. So can I say that 2022 account will be the from 1st January 2022 till 31st March 2023. So here guys, this will be the 15 month account, and guys, for the setup and carry forward, this 15 month we will consider as 1 year. So this is the 5th year of your setup and carry forward. Now guys, previous year your 23-24 will be the 6th year, your previous year 24-25 will be the 7th year, and your previous year 25-26 will be your 8th year of setup and carry forward. Hope so you understood this concept. And guys, suppose if this particular period is 6 months or more, then it will be treated as a separate accounting year. If this period is a 6 month or more, then it will be treated as a separate accounting year. Here guys, I have given you the various example. If you read this third point now, then you will able to understand. I have given you here 3 example, and from help of this 3 example, you will able to understand this concept. Now next part. Sir, suppose now this foreign company became the resident in India. Now in the TDS topic, there are various provision which is applicable only for resident, and there are some provision which is applicable for foreign company. Now, for an example, suppose for an example, if you are paying any professional fees to the resident person, then you know that we used to deduct the TDS under section 194J. But suppose if we pay the professional fees to the non-resident foreign company, we have to deduct the TDS under section 195. Now guys, this company is a resident, answer is yes, so you will say 194J is applicable. This company is a foreign company. Answer is yes. So 195 is applicable. So in case of the TDS topic, suppose if both the provisions are applicable, then which provision will prevail? Here lawmaker says that here 195 will be applicable, means a provision applicable on foreign company alone, that will be applicable. So in case of the, a payment is made to the foreign company, now this foreign company is a resident also and foreign company, and TDS provision, both the provision is applicable, then guys only provision applicable for foreign company shall be considered. Now one more point, guys, when this foreign company became a resident in India, then whole world income is taxable, but there may be possibility they already paid the taxes in Singapore also. So can they claim the credit of Singaporean tax or not? Answer is yes. So whatever tax they have paid in the Singapore, they can claim the credit in India under section 90 and 91 of the DTAA topic. Now guys, this notification whatever we are discussing, that is not applicable for Indian income, because Indian income is anyway taxable for that company, whether that company is a resident or non-resident in India, means income which is anyway is going to be taxable. For that income, this particular notification is not applicable. One more point guys, under the income tax there are various provisions which is applicable only for the foreign company. Is that will be applicable? Answer is yes, that is going to be applied. But suppose there are some provision which is applicable only to the non-resident, is that is applicable? No, it is not applicable, because that foreign company is not a non-resident. Now that foreign company is a resident, so provision applicable for only foreign company, that will apply. Provision applicable for non-resident only, that is does not apply. And if any provision which is applicable for the resident person, that will be apply. Answer is yes, that is going to be apply. You got my point or not? Yes. Now one more point, guys, when that foreign company became resident in India, then whole world income is going to be taxable. But sir, what will be the tax rate? Is tax rate will be 30%? No. Here tax rate will be the 40% only, means that foreign company is required to pay the tax at the rate 40%. You got my point or not? Yes. And here foreign jurisdiction means the place incorporated, means that foreign company is incorporated in Singapore, then Singapore will be treated as foreign jurisdiction. Done. So this is the completion of your residential status of the foreign company. And guys, we are expecting question in the examination, and many time examiner used to ask the 6 mark question, 8 mark question, sometime like once he asked for the 9 marks question also from this particular concept. So hope so you understood this concept, and best of luck for your examination. Just revise this concept and just do some question given in the compiler. I think I have given you 2-3 questions from the poem concept. Just do that question from compiler. See you in the next concept video. So this type of revision lecture I am uploading for the English medium student, so you can revise the concept, and I am just picking some important concept from your syllabus, and I am uploading this type of video for you. Okay, thank you.